Hey guys, Heather here on the Talking Pools podcast with Hump Days with Heather. I hope you're having an amazing day. Well, on this episode, I want to talk about how you handle your self identity during the busy season. So, when I do business coaching, that's one of the big topics that comes up. And um, I guess a lot of people I'm finding don't know themselves. Like you get lost in yourself. You don't know who you are internally without that business. With that being said, you can join my Facebook group if you want to. It's Integrity Consultants. Feel free to join, and Rudy and I will be happy to help you with this because it's a big thing. And it took me a while to figure that out because I built this business with Chris. God, how many years ago was this? Let's see. Chris and I got married in 2010. We started dating in 2008. So we started the business in 2009. So I've been running this business since 2009. And of course, everybody knows when you start a business, it's all business, business, business at the very beginning. And it's tough because you're working so hard to build that business, to build that legacy. And in this process, with doing it in this many years, you're solely focused on that business and you lose yourself. So how do you help reclaim yourself and understand that, hey, this happens during business, and how do I step myself back, and how do I separate the two identities of myself? Because everybody has two identities, right? You have your work identity and you have your personal identity. It's the same as your disc profiling. Every one of my coaching clients get disc profiling. I do two different disc profiling. I do a personal profile and I do a business profile. That lets me know where they're at personality wise because everybody is different. Like mine though, I'm gonna be honest, my personal and my business are pretty much in line because of the individual that I am. So I'm a high D. So that means I'm a take charge person. I'm going to get you the results that we need. So, how do you identify who you are? So, I always tell my people step one, what makes you the happiest? What do you do whenever you have to de stress? That's the biggest aspect. The first thing that pops to your mind, what do you love to do to de stress? Is it family time? Is it gaming? Is it reading a book? Is it turning off your phone and sitting in the hot tub with a glass of wine and just chilling? Is it shopping? Those of you that have shopping as de-stress in this industry is probably a bad idea. I'm just gonna tell you that I've started picking up shopping a lot more, and I've had a cutback since I've had my weight loss. I actually enjoy, getting clothes. Hubby took me to the store for anniversary to try on a dress from Dolce and Gabbana. I think that's the correct terminology for it. I'm not a big name brand person, so I don't know. I'm actually not a name brand person at all. This dress was $2,500 or $2,800, whatever it was. I posted it on my Facebook, so go check it out. But I looked hot in it. I was like, I need a sugar daddy to to buy me this dress. But anyways, so for me, it was like shopping to decrease, but that's not who I am, right? So who I am as an individual is going to be, that's just how I de-stress, right? Is going to be like, I'm a mom first and foremost. And sometimes my mom comes out of my business and my business comes out of my mom. And I have to learn to separate those two because without putting that, like my son is 7, so I can't be like fire and broomsticks with my 7-year-old who's got ADHD that is overstimulated and overwhelmed at times to access that and be like, okay, mom, step back. This is not business, right? So I have to identify the issues that I have inside of me at the present moment. Is it mom voice or is it work voice? Secondly, I'm a wife. Obviously, I've got to rein that in. I think I've done a lot better, and Steven will, I think, vouch for me on this. I've done a lot better on the whole. Steven's one of our good friends, by the way. Will vouch for me that saying I've done a lot better on the husband and wife dynamic inside of the business with respect of my husband a lot more than I had in the past, because that's a tough one. If you work with your spouse and you are constantly every day with your spouse and you feel whatever way that you feel about your spouse, it's hard sometimes to separate that too. So I think the biggest issue for me is who I am outside of my business. I used to think that if I didn't have my business, I was a failure. If I didn't have my business, if I didn't thrive, I'm a failure and I can't start over, or I can't be the person that people perceive me as because my business isn't where it should be, or I've ran across issues in my business and that shouldn't happen. Like, what are people going to think? What are people going to think first off? Because if my business is not succeeding, that tells me as an individual, I'm not as, being successful. And in fact, that is the complete opposite of how you should think.
Launch your product with the Talking Pools podcast by placing your ad here. For information on sponsoring the Hump Days with Heather podcast, contact us at talkingpools@gmail.com.
It should be individually, how am I individually, first and foremost, because you can't operate a business if you don't know who you are individually, if you don't like the person that you perceive yourself individually, and you don't want people to perceive you individually in a certain manner, then change it. You have the power to change that. And for me, that started with my weight loss. I've lost 110 pounds. And I'm sure if you go back on the videos, if Rudy's posted, the videos before, I haven't even looked at past, I'm sure he has, because I did videos. You can see, like, even in my face and, everywhere else, the difference. And that's, I ate who I was, that, like, I was eating food, not hate, like HAT, like ate, like food. I was eating myself to death, literally, if I was stressed, if I was bored, if I was doing whatever, because I thought that my individual self didn't matter. It was my business self. And once I understood that and I faced my issue head on, I could understand that, okay, it's my person, it's not my business. You have to take whatever that issue is starting out and tackle it head on. Example, I don't have it with me, but if I had a cup of water, right? Let's say, imagine me holding a cup of water. How much do you think this cup of water weighs? 16 ounces, 8 ounces, whatever it may be. And in fact, the longer you hold on to it, the more that water is actually going to perceive you to weigh, right? Your arm's going to get tired. It's going to get shaky. It's going to get like worn out, right? Because the longer that you hold it, the more that your arm weighs because it's heavy over time. Obviously, you're gonna hold a cup of water for an hour, you'll be all right. But like, I'm talking about hours on end. It's the same thing. The longer that your body holds on to something, the heavier it begins to weigh on you. The heavier it begins to make you think that, okay, this is you individually, when in fact it's not. So you have to think really hard as the self-help. How am I going to separate myself from my business? And only you can answer that. Nobody can answer that for you. As much as I can coach you and teach you what to look for, the signs, what to look for. For me, it was definitely my weight, because I perceived my self body as nothing and I was perceiving my business as everything. And so I was turning around. I started having fatty liver. I was passing out when I was bending over, putting my shoes or my boots on to lace them up. If I didn't wear flip-flops, I couldn't breathe in my pants, so I was at a size 22, which, men, if you don't know that, that's a very large size, right? That's past 2XL. I was 3XL in shirts, and now I'm, down to a 6 in pants, and I'm a small to extra small in tops, because I took time to understand that self-help. Girls, guys, I can't stress that enough. Learn your identity, get to know your identity, and start focusing on that identity outside of the work. Your worth is worth more than just your business. Guys and gals, learn that. be respectful of your body and the people around you to help with that. And it's hard, guys. I'm not going to lie. My first process during this journey was hard. It was okay. For me, it was me passing out, putting my shoes on. And that for me just instantly clicked like, okay, I have to do something. My self-worth, my business is killing me. Literally, my business was killing me because I was stressed all the time. So because I was eating all the time, I was stress eating. That's not who I wanted to be, and that's not who I wanted people to perceive me as. So I'm very thankful that it took a very dramatic, as I like to say, dramatic thing to help me realize that. But hopefully, I can help you realize that before it gets to that point in your life. Reach out to me. Let me know what you need help with. I'm there. Rudy is the same way. Rudy's been a very godsend with me with certain aspects of my business as well in personal life too. I don't have the judgment. You want to find somebody that's not going to judge you first and foremost. Like that is your support system has to be your support system. Period. Make sure you find somebody for that because it's a hard road to go by yourself. Learn who you are outside of your business. Once you figure that out, your business will thrive. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Until next week, bye guys.